welcome to Romance Book Monsters. It's your girl Lollipop here with Kitty Boom.
Hi guys.
And today we are talking about Opening Up by Lauren Dane. It is the first book in her Ink and Chrome series that has been actually completed for a while because this particular book came out in 2015. I actually owned this book probably when it came out, and it popped up back into my head, and I was like, let's give it a whirl. Let me reread this book. So today we're talking a little bit about PJ and Asa. So PJ is what I would call not the poor little rich girl that everyone would expect her to be, but she definitely does have some daddy issues. And we have Asa, who's a hardworking former military co-owner of a custom motorcycle shop who is older than PJ. So, part of the angst of it all is he thinks that she might be a little too young for him. And of course, at the end, doesn't help when she starts working at his shop, even though technically she doesn't work for him. She's more of a subcontractor, if I would say. She more works with him. So, it's definitely, I felt like this book had the potential to be really, really, really good, but they did fall short in a few areas. My main area was from the main villain, or better, I guess not the main villain. Yeah, I guess you could call it the main villain, from her daddy issue side, like the father and the uncle and their just storyline, I felt was the weakest part of the book. So, and I guess I'll go first and talk my piece, I guess you could say. So I think PJ as a character was pretty much well written because I can see where her daddy issues would stem from. I could see how much she loved her grandfather, and him giving her his car meant a lot to her, and she loved that damn car. I can see where her loving the company her grandfather started and wanting to do something that she loves, but can also expand the business that, the family runs. So that all made sense to me because it was logical in my mind that maybe she doesn't want to just sell tires, but Coleman doesn't have to just be about tires, because tires at the end of the day, you need to diversify as a business. And that is what this younger generation, especially mainly PJ, was thinking, that they need to diversify because we already have customers. Well, there's only so many customers you're going to get over. You're not going to be able to necessarily win new customers all the time. But if you can get more, if you can get more out of your existing fan base by offering different services besides tires, because people aren't going to be replacing their tires every day or putting new tires on, vehicles that they're building every day.
Right.
But by having tires and paint and all this, and maybe other things down the line that the company might think of, I totally got where she was going. And when they did her dirty, and they did do her dirty, and she quit. She was already planning it too. She was willing to take that risk. It was sad that she kind of sorted halfway, kind of was hoping that they would ask her to come back and say how they were wrong and stuff like that. But she didn't wait for it. She still moved forward with building her business on her own while hoping it would happen, but still preparing that it will not, And another little thing about the book that I thought was a little, and this was maybe a minor pet peeve, or maybe the author just forgot. So, obviously they were saying how that there were they made motorcycles and custom motorcycles, and that's what their business. But was it me, or was they making a lot of cars? Because it was a custom motorcycle shop. Like, that is even in the summary of the book. But I felt like the few times that they were like, she was working on this or she was working on that, it was cars.
Yeah.
At their shop. And I was like, but I thought they were a custom motorcycle shop, not a custom car shop.
Yeah.
Now
she did a custom bicycle.
She did a custom bicycle, like a bicycle, which I thought was really cute too. But I just thought it was weird that the emphasis on was that they had a custom motorcycle shop instead of just a custom shop. Because if it was a
Yeah.
custom shop, then I wouldn't have been like, okay, well, motorcycles, bicycles, cars.
Even when she did the photo shoot, like she did most of the shoots with a car.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a car. So I was real confused because I thought this was a motorcycle shop.
And the owner had more cars than he had motorcycles.
I honestly don't even remember them mentioning a motorcycle.
He mentioned a motorcycle once. Remember when they were talking about the crappy helmet that she had? And so she had to wear his helmet when they went to her house.
But that was his motorcycle they were
Yes,
getting.
that's what I'm saying. Like of his personal
Yeah.
arsenal,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
were like
yeah.
supposed to be big motorcycle people, but he himself had one motorcycle and a whole bunch of cars.
Yes, I agree. Because I was like, I thought that maybe I missed them mentioning a motorcycle in the shop, not
Yeah,
his personal motorcycle. But that's what I thought was that threw me off. And usually this particular author is really good. Like I've read quite a few Lauren Dane books, but that threw me off. And the father and the uncle being very one note, flat characters really
you know
bothered
that
me.
did, yeah, with the uncle and the dad, that threw me off too, because I mean I really thought the big issue in the book was just like male chauvinism of like
Hmm.
a female trying to like come up in a male dominated industry.
Hmm.
And I thought that that was like her dad and uncle's thing, that they just had like no value for like women and women's opinion. But I
Hmm.
mean, come to find out at the end, like they had no value for all of the kids, the sons included, really.
Right.
And it was all because they had daddy issues.
Right. They were jealous of the fact. And the crazy thing is like, obviously, she had a special relationship with her grandfather. And that's why the father treated her especially heinously because he was jealous. And I'm just like, this man is in his 50s and he was jealous of his daughter's relationship with the father. Everybody know the grandparents treat the grandkids different than they treat their children.
Yeah. But
Everybody
it
knows that.
sounded like the grandparents had a special relationship with all the children. I mean, remember when the sister was talking about how she got like this case of books like
Mhm.
after he passed away? So it seems like they all had their special little thing that they did
Mhm.
with the grandparents.
Which makes sense to me. And I'm
Yeah.
here like you as a grown man in your 50s and you are jealous of your children's experience with your daddy. Really? This is what we're doing here? I
Because
was so
they
glad when they
probably,
got them kicked out of the company. I was like, thank
yes,
God.
because I'm sure like when like he like the version of the father that they got was the version that was trying to build a company, that was putting in all these hours at creating the company, creating the family legacy.
Hmm.
And by the time the grandkids got around, the dad was probably in semi-retirement or
Hmm.
retirement, and the grandkids got all that extra time while the sons were now basically running the business.
Exactly.
But
But
he
the
was
crazy thing
he
is,
was he was big mad. He was like, your precious grandfather had all that time for you. He was so mad.
and I'm sitting here like, sir, she could have wrote that whole thing out. That whole thing out. Didn't even need to be there.
I mean, it's interesting, and I'm sure that happens though.
Of
You
course it
know it
happens.
does.
Jealousy is real.
You know it does. Here were these men, they were senior citizens. They were like your precious granddaddy. And I mean, the fact that they were that like unreasonable and that harsh with the kids, and they knew exactly why they were. So it's one thing to not be like aware of why you're treating people like crap and you're doing the wrong thing, but they knew exactly what they were doing. It was
Hmm.
like they were knowingly like being revengeful on the kids.
Right. It didn't make any sense.
It
Um,
didn't.
at least to not to that extent. But it was a steamy book though. It was very steamy. The chemistry was there between the main characters. I
It
was like,
was.
hello, nurse. Um, but yeah, that whole piece I could have did without. So I don't know what you would rate the book. I gave it a 3,
I like,
maybe three and a half.
it did kind of like fall flat because you're like, on one hand, like all of that. I mean, he called the daughter a whore. He let her quit the job. He was like super mean to her boyfriend, and
Mm-hmm.
he never paid any like true attention to her. So when you find out the reason, you're like, really, that was it?
I was like,
But I
you
mean, it
know
was
it's
such an interesting reason. It was like surprising. So I mean, that was good too.
That's true. So yeah, I'm like maybe I'm leaning more to that 3.5 over the 3 because I'm not gonna lie, it was that part was the letdown of the book for me because everything else is going great.
It was, and you were talking about like the how the guy earlier with the age difference. Like, I thought it was a bit refreshing for the guy to be like
Mm-hmm.
concerned about the age difference. Like, he got over it like quick enough. Like, there was what, a 12-year age difference. She was like
Something
23,
like that.
like
Something like
35.
that.
I did not mind him being hesitant of that because that a lot of times, like you do, like, yeah, sometimes age doesn't matter, but sometimes, like, it really does.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Oh
sometimes get these romance novels where you have like the 40-year-old man getting the 19-year-old girl. And
no, I don't like
I
that.
mean, you really are at like really big stages. I mean, you're 40, like they're ready to have kids right now and settle down and whatnot. And here you have like a 19-year-old.
Yeah,
And they talk
no.
about being in different life stages.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think she did a great job with that. And I didn't mind that, he kind of
He
pushed her
looked
off
out for
for, I think
good.
it was like 6 months or something before
I
he
don't even
couldn't
think it
take it
was that
anymore.
long.
Hmm?
I don't even think it was that long.
Oh, I think it was that long because they did a
Okay.
time jump with her
Okay.
working there. I think it was a
Because
good 6, 8 months.
I mean, he looked out and he got like a mature 23-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I mean, it wasn't like he was in the stage for kids yet either. So it actually worked out for them. It wasn't
Right.
like he had his wedding bell, his not wedding bells, but baby bells weren't ringing as they call it.
But you know what I found like particularly crazy? How are you going to introduce your current significant other to somebody, one of your friends in your circle, and you are married to that person, and you don't even think to mention?
Well, is it a friend in the circle or was they were at a bar that they tend to happen and she was there? No, they
No,
were
they
at an
were
event.
friends.
They were at an event and she was there. They divorced amicably and they're not, I mean, they still work together every now and then, but I don't know if
It was like a regular friends hangout, and
he
like
right.
it sounded like she was like in his life to like know his new habits and whatnot. It sounded like they were friends and she was a part of their friend group.
It's possible, yeah. And but she did tell him that that was not cool. Not the girl,
Seriously,
but the ex-wife. The ex-wife was
yeah.
like, "Oh, you can't do that. You need to let her know."
Yeah, the ex-wife was like, oh, she's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And Cole was like, oh, she doesn't know that we were once married.
And she's like, "Oh no, 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 you can't do that. You better not let her find out from somebody else."
And then he tells her before she takes him to meet her family.
Yeah, that was a dumb move. She was like, "We'll
Not
talk about this
only
later."
not only did she not know that that girl used to be married to him, she never knew that he was married.
Mm-hmm. Granted, though, they hadn't really been messing around that long at that point.
I mean, come on. Wait a minute, had they? I mean,
No, just because they were working
she
together off and on. Because I think part of the thing is, it seems like they were together a lot longer than they were because they were working together for like that good 6 months
well, I mean,
before.
they had gotten to the stage of where she was taking him to meet her whole family.
Yeah, but I still don't think they were together that long. It might have been like maybe 4 months or so.
And
Oh
then
yeah, it was long enough for him to have told her that he was married before for sure.
I'm
I'm
trying
not
to
saying that.
think, had she met his mother by that point?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. She had met his mother,
Mm-hmm.
and had met her parents already. This was the second dinner, family dinner, where he told her.
No, it was the first time he was meeting her father.
Remember the first time they met at their house? Was it at their house?
Now you're confused. Now I'm confused.
Yes, their first meeting was at the family home.
But wasn't that where they were going, or was it the
They
restaurant?
went to the restaurant.
Okay.
Okay, maybe I'm getting them mixed up.
That's fine. Either way, I
Yes,
mean, it's not a
yes.
big deal.
You know what? No, yes, I'm getting them mixed up because he called her, I think he called her a whore at the family home, but
I think that's this semantics. It's really is
yeah.
semantics. Either way, he should have told her that he was married before at the least. And then when old girl came over and was talking to her, he could have been like, this is so and so, my ex-wife that I told you about. But he never did. So either way, he's still in the wrong. Let's not get down into the semantics of it all.
Okay.
It's not going to change the fact that he was wrong.
They're very much so in the wrong.
So
But
yeah, as I was saying,
I give it like a 3.5.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you for joining us today as we talked about Opening Up by Lauren Dane. Have you read this book? What did you think about the uncle and the father's characters and how they were written? Hit us up in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell, share our videos. As you know, we're definitely working up on building our channel, and we love all the support that you give us. So say goodbye.